Hello, all you curious people. Today I decided to do something a little bit more personal. I have enjoyed that topic ever since I was little and I'm still interested in it now. Space. Space is a big subject. The entire thing is called astronomy and it's quite large. I did spend over 4 years reading books and more books about it. But I'm gonna try and explain a little bit of what I've learned. Let's go back to where it all began. 13.8 billion years ago. Imagine this, a tiny point in time, although time wasn't invented yet. Infinitely dense, infinitely massive, infinitely curved, infinitely hot. All of a sudden, it expanded to a billion, trillion, trillionth the size of what it was. That's the Big Bang. The scenario of the universe back then was very different than it is to now. 4 forces govern this universe: gravity, electromagnetic force, strong nuclear force, and memes. Just kidding, the weak nuclear force. I'm sure you have heard of the gravity and electromagnetism. Strong and weak nuclear forces might be a bit unheard of, so I'll explain that in a minute. They were all combined into one exotic force. We do not know how that force behaved because our current understanding of physics breaks down at that point. 3 minutes after the universe was born, it was a dense, hot sea of quarks. What are quarks? Quarks are basically what protons, neutrons are made out of. There is a standard model which talks all about the quarks, and if you do want to know about it, go check it out or maybe ask me to do a video later. So now we have quarks. Now quarks are just floating around being happy. Then after a billion years, everything just started to cool down. The quarks were happily married together and they started to form the first protons and neutrons, and the neutrons and protons started to get together and formed hydrogen and helium. Electrons also started to orbit around them, started to act like your pet, something. So gravity split off from those exotic forces. The next was the strong nuclear force, the next was the weak nuclear force, and the last was the electromagnetic force. And gravity was feeling weird. It started to go to one side more than the other sides. This caused the hydrogen and helium nuclei to come together in hot dense clubs like they were having a party. All of a sudden this party was invaded and it exploded into the first stars. These stars started shining really brightly because there was loads and loads of hydrogen and helium around. And they were shining so brightly that they were blue in color. And because of this, they had very short lifespans because they were going through their fuel very. All of a sudden, they started fusing the elements inside their core from helium and helium to make lithium, lithium and lithium to make beryllium. And this continued on until they make really heavy elements like gold, platinum, silver, and such. And all of a sudden, they decided enough was enough. They exploded. And that shot all the particles throughout the universe. Then other hydrogen and helium, which is still left inside the gas cloud, which went supernova, decided to come together again to make small still stars. So, cycle of life again. This continued on and on and on until we decided to clump those stars together and form a galaxy. And in a certain galaxy, not far away, called the Milky Way, in a certain arm of the spiral, in a certain solar system, the third planet is where we live in. We do sound really tiny when we talk about how big the scale of the universe is. And we are. Currently, that's the situation of the universe. But how about the future? If you like happy endings, then I'd advise you to stop watching now. But if you do want to know, if you are still curious, then let me explain. Our sun, which has so graciously provided us for past 4.5 billion years, which is is going to go supernova in not so long amount of time. In about 1 billion years, it will happen. But by that time, the human race would either have gone extinct due to our current fossil fuel use or have progressed into a type 2 civilization which will be utilizing the entire resources of our galaxy. Both things are equally have a chance of happening. Let's look at a far future. The stars will keep on shining, hooray, but the bigger stars, which are the blue color ones, will die out first because they are using their fuel faster than the others. The next will be the yellow ones and the red, and next will be the red ones. Finally, even the red ones will disappear and leave out white dwarfs and brown dwarfs. White dwarfs and brown dwarfs also decay and cause black dwarfs, which are basically the core of a star which do not produce any. Then look even further into the future. Black holes exist. Even black holes will evaporate due to the Hawking radiation. And that will cause them to shrink and shrink and shrink until they just poof out of existence. Then we have reached the dark age. Literally. Nothing happens except for small quantum background fluctuations which will determine what particles are let into our universe. The universe will keep on expanding and expanding in all directions faster than the speed of light. No light will exist except for the few that are let out by the random photons which will be buzzing here and there. It's a very dreary thing, but it'll still carry on. Assuming that protons decay, it'll still go further and further into the future when almost literally no particles exist. It's just a dark expansion. I mentioned the quantum, a certain series of fluctuations will cause, hopefully, a new birth of the universe. But then you might be thinking, Anuk, isn't the probability of that really small? Science has an answer for that. Anything with a non-zero chance of happening happens given enough of time. So yeah, I might finally get 100 for an exam given enough of time. That's the universe. We can see that it is basically the circle of life. Birth, life, death, rebirth, it carries on. What more can I say? It's a beautiful phenomenon. We live in a beautiful universe. Until next time, I hope there will be a next time. Goodbye. See you, curious people, later.